gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is a special edition of Apex Greatness. I am your host, Russell Broderick. I'm in the middle today as Big Papa Santa. Above me is Johnny Arnett, our special guest. Beneath me, as always, is Dario Albuquerque. It's actually we never do the show this way, so it doesn't make sense. Yeah. Off camera is the fairy godmother, Lindsay Lehman.
Oh man, this is just ridiculous looking.
Super ridiculous.
I think it's fire. I love Dario's Winter Wonderland he's got in the background.
I was gonna say Dario looks like he's in a snow globe.
I was about to say, yeah, you're coming at you live from.
I mean, I'm pretty much in the North Carolina. So.
That's a fair point.
Shit.
So, obviously, this is a very different episode of the show. I don't usually dress like this. My beard's usually a hair shorter. And we're going to try something a little different today. We are doing a Christmas award show spectacular. So, essentially, we have a bunch of categories. Some of them will be on your screen. And we are going to run through 5 different awards. And then at the end, we're going to do our all NBA Christmas team. We're going to do a first team and a second team. How are you guys? How are you doing after I went through everything? How's it going? How are we doing? How are we feeling?
I'll start since I'm on top. I'm doing good. I'm excited for this show. Different than any sort of content I've ever done on my channel, so this should be fun. And I love NBA Christmas. It gets me so excited. And so just talking about all those games, and it's kind of a weird research. It's like normally when you talk about like history and stuff, you don't have to look into a specific date and like collect your own stats for it and everything. And so this will be fun to kind of tackle it. And it's weird, like guys don't perform the same on Christmas Day compared to what they normally do. Like it has an effect on them for sure.
So that was my favorite part about the specific awards we picked that we'll get through as we go through them. It felt like there was certain people that absolutely stood out on Christmas. Mm-hmm. And some of them were the people you'd expect, like, it's the Hall of Famers of the game, the people of their generation. But then from another standpoint, you have guys like, Bernard King, who was an all-star for a little bit of time, but due to injuries or whatever, didn't have the greatest career as he could have had. And then see him get 60 points on Christmas. Like, there's all kinds of crazy stat games. Like Tracy McGrady had his same thing, career cut short. Actually, very similar. Career cut short or like career altered by injuries. And he has 2 of the best games ever by a player on Christmas. So, like, it's fun to throw out different names than the ones we usually throw out. I'm excited to go through.
Dario, how you doing?
Yeah, I was about to say, bro.
I'm doing good, I'm in a holiday spirit, Happy to be doing a nice little Christmas special. It's going to be dope.
Lindsay, are you wearing Christmas shit off camera? It's very important.
No, I ran in here and I'm still in my work clothes.
Lied.
That's what I'm saying. You just lied. Ruin it. Why ruin it for the audience? You could have said, yeah.
Get her out.
Yeah,
Get her out.
Mrs. Claus out.
We'll handle this alone.
we just hear a door shut. That's it. Over here. Okay. What were you going to say, Dario? I felt bad.
I was going to say, I just wanted to remind the audience that this is going to be part 1 of 2 parts.
Very true.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. So we're going to start with the Grinch Award. We tried to go as punny as possible with the Christmas names. So the Grinch
what is the Grinch Award?
The Grinch Award is for the best single defensive performance. I'm going to be doing this all show with the mustache, so just get ready. The best single defensive performance on Christmas. The way the Grinch stole Christmas, these guys stole basketballs. Stole and blocked them and got rebounds and changed the game.
Slap little kids.
Yeah. Yeah, grab little kids. Sure.
They treated men like kids. Just
Oh, I
rag
see.
them all
Yeah,
around.
I see what you're going
Like
for.
that,
All
like
right.
that. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm
Sure.
good at this.
Just dig yourself a hole. It's fine.
All right. What?
But who wants to go first? Everybody's got a different.
Yeah, I'm willing to start.
Go for it.
So I'm going for my guy Moses Malone, who's fourth on this little list that's right there, but first in my heart, right? He had a really good defensive game with 5 blocks, 3 steals.
Yeah.
But not only and I know this is the Grinch award, but I just also wanted to know his dominance all around. He also had 28 points, 21 rebounds in a revenge game against
That's the one thing that was crazy to me.
the Philadelphia 76ers.
That was the biggest part of this game that was wild to me. Was I thought that Moses? I didn't even blink. I didn't think twice about it until I looked at it further. I thought Moses Malone was still on the Sixers,
Yeah,
and then I looked at it twice, and I was like, "Oh no! This is the biggest revenge game ever! This is crazy!"
He had a lot of revenge games in his career. I've said it before. Moses Malone's the greatest journeyman in NBA history.
For sure.
Like, how does a dude that great end up on so many different teams? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Didn't he had 2 MVPs for Houston or 3 for the Rockets?
He won one in 82 with the Rockets and one with the Sixers in 83, which I think he's the only guy to win back-to-back on separate teams. But, yeah, I can't remember if it was 2 or 3.
I think there's one more before that point.
Yeah, that might have
Was
been.
it a trade from Houston to the Sixers?
I think it was for, I should know this. I've done so much content on Moses Malone, but now I can't remember. Was it a trade or was it free agency acquisition? Because I remember there's a big correlation between that and Kevin Durant joining the Warriors. Like, if you talk about like one instance where that was kind of similar in NBA history, like that Philadelphia team went to the NBA Finals the year before Moses Malone joined them, and he was the MVP. So now you have the MVP joining an Eastern Conference contender, and what happens in 83? They just dominate. They lose only one game in the postseason. He says that famous like faux in the playoffs. Yeah, and so that was like Kevin Durant before Kevin Durant joining the Warriors.
Had a game score, which is like where they calculate all the different stats you could possibly have in a stat sheet. Has a game score of 27.9. I think 30 is considered extraordinary. 20 is considered above average. Something like that. I think something along those lines. 27.9, not bad. Feels like,
but that shouldn't matter, right? Because we're talking Grinch award. We're talking just defense, right?
Yeah,
like
no, for sure,
I know Dario was like, "Oh, it's a great all around game." This is not what I was told. I was told this was a defensive award. Okay, so that's all I'm going to argue for.
So my whole thing is I just had to throw that in for the audience. So
Okay.
They're picking out.
Let's just appreciate.
They'll remember, like, oh, this guy dominated defensively, probably better than everybody on this list.
Yeah,
and also demolished them offensively too. So just saying for you guys. Yeah. That's my case.
Shot 39%.
All right, can we go into you guys'? Please, I don't want to hog the mic. I want to give you guys' picks. We don't have to talk about his percentages.
I can go next.
Yeah, Lindsay, you go.
So I have DeAndre Jordan from the 2013 game versus Golden State Warriors. He had 6 blocks, 13 rebounds, and a steal. And I will say he's the Grinchiest of the Grinches of these choices because they didn't win. And the Grinch's heart grew so big in the movie that he let the Who's have Christmas. So I think that DeAndre Jordan should win the Grinch Award.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep.
Yeah,
boom.
We shouldn't have given like a theme to this because that's not fair. Like that's Lindsay's thing.
That's Lindsay's.
That's that's probably her favorite movie.
No, my favorite movie is The Little Mermaid.
Okay. Favorite Christmas movie.
Oddly. So DeAndre Jordan, 13 points, 13 rebounds, 6 blocks. How many points did the Warriors score? They only won by 2. The Warriors did, and they only scored 105, which for the Warriors is lower, I guess. Lower than expected.
What year is this?
This It was 2013. This game was like really chippy.
Oh yeah, so I guess it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say we not talking about the 17 Warriors right now. Let's chill out.
Steph,
Yeah,
15 points, 5-17. I wonder what their
Draymond and Blake Griffin both got ejected this game too.
Oh,
Speaking of Steph being 5-17, dude is straight trash on Christmas. Like it's just like you want to talk about a dude who's different on Christmas. Dude is all time terrible. Like I was looking at his stats. It was like I'm not sure if it was the most up to date, but it was decently up to date. Is he averaging something like 12 points on 30% shooting on Christmas Day? And that sounds about right. Like I just remember throughout the years, it's just like he just doesn't show up, and it's weird. I wonder how it affects, like why it affects guys differently, you know? But like he's bad.
You know what's about to happen because you said that. Steph about to go off in a few days.
I'll give you a 60 piece.
He is streaky like that. I wouldn't be surprised. I remember what was that one year where he shot like 0 of 10 against it was like I can't remember if it was against us, against the Lakers, but the very next game didn't he like break the record and made like 13 3-pointers the very next game? It was like 0 of 10 and then like breaks record like right afterwards. It was like what's up with Steph?
He's done that in a game where he's shot terribly in the first half, like the God mode game where he shot terribly in the first half and then like absolutely eviscerated the
God mode game, is that OKC?
No, it was in the playoffs. I want to say it was the Rockets or the Blazers.
Or, having the greatest record in regular season history and then just getting absolutely embarrassed in the finals, like 26.
That's what I was about to ask you. Would you rather have Christmas Curry or Finals Curry?
Oh, Finals Curry. Finals Curry is like low key underrated.
Yeah.
But
he's hated
Christmas Curry's he's bad. He's on the naughty list.
Legitimately rough.
Well, the whole thing that just goes to like add to everybody's claims of Steph not showing up in big moments, like the biggest of moments.
Yeah.
Are we gonna call Christmas a big moment now? Like,
I always say Christmas is when the regular season really starts.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like that's when the stages are set and it's all NBA time.
I kind of just consider it like, I don't know. It's an event. It's fun to watch, but I never really put too much stock in like how meaningful a Christmas game is because everybody's in a different mindset. It's like that's why I like the games itself, and that's why I pick like my favorite game, like the greatest game. It was because it was just about that game. Like we knew the like spoiler, but we knew Miami and LA wasn't going to end up in the finals in 2004. Like we just knew that, but it was about that game. It felt like a boxing match,
Mm-hmm.
And so Christmas is just because it's like West Coast teams are now playing earlier in the day. There's a bunch of guys who are like in a weird headspace because they'd rather be home with family anyway. It's just totally different than what these guys are accustomed to.
Yeah.
So DeAndre Jordan apparently is the Warriors' like nightmare on Christmas. He's got the game Lindsay's talking about with 6 blocks. He's also got another game in 2011 with 8 blocks. Oh, wow. That was I always forget how big of a rivalry that was in the beginning of the 2010s between before they got KD and before the Warriors started just going like this.
Yeah,
those two teams were like.
Yeah, it got really bad towards 2013 time. At that time, like the beginning of the 2010s was Clippers, Lakers. That was like a big thing.
Lindsay was the biggest Steph Curry.
How could you not hate him if you're a Clippers fan?
Oh, you're a Clippers fan?
Oh, shut up! Yeah. We're not getting into this right now.
I don't know if you know that she picked DeAndre Jordan for best defensive game
How
ever.
How does it even happen? Do you just like not like rooting for the best? Like, is that what it is?
You just really love Blake Griffin is how it happens.
Yeah, her first year of watching basketball was Blake Griffin's crazy rookie year with all the dunks.
Okay, that was pretty exciting. I get that.
See?
I like the Clippers. They're different. It just stuck, sadly.
What a time to become a Clippers fan. Because I tell you what, the previous, however many years before that, there was nothing going on.
Absolute nightmare.
And then Blake Griffin shows up, boom, Clippers fan. Perfect.
Clippers fans everywhere. Team worth $2 billion. Amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, who's my
it's on you.
defensive game is an underrated one that it took me a while to find, but believe it or not, Dirk Nowitzki had a crazy defensive performance on Christmas Day. He was going up against a Kings team that was still good, like still very good at that point. They were 20-7 going into this game. Puts up, well, he has 31 points, but puts up 14 rebounds, 3 steals, and 3 blocks versus Sacramento. And pretty sure they come out with a win for that game. We'll look that up in a second. But I couldn't believe I was thinking that out loud with Dirk because Dirk's not known for his defense. Yeah. But just keeping it to a one-game thing, he played center in this game. Because like Antoine Walker was the power forward. And what do you call it? And then when usually he usually has like a Tyson Chandler type guy to be super successful. And so seeing him play center and like embrace the role, because I was watching a little bit of the game earlier today, but seeing him embrace the role was very crazy to watch. Like he's in everywhere underneath. And then he comes on the other side and he's dropping 31. Not that's relevant, like you said earlier, but it's the same kind of thing Dario was saying. It's total dominance. Like, but more specifically, I picked it because of the fact that Dirk's not so much of a defensive player, and he had this major performance on Christmas. I just thought that was impressive.
So he gets extra points because he's not normally great on defense?
Yeah. Same thing with because he shines on the Christmas stage with the
all right.
multicolored lights.
So he's Christmas clutch. Is that what we're going to call it now? Is like there's a Christmas clutch gene.
Hey, listen, we're only, like you said to start the show, we're only focused on one fucking day of the year. This Christmas.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
For one day, he was fire.
I'm going to start preaching that now. People are going to say like, "Oh, Dirk wasn't a great defender." I'm like, "Well, you're forgetting Christmas, okay?" Casual. Go study up.
Yeah. Casual piece of garbage. But yeah, like I said, he was definitely playing center because it was Antoine Walker and Antoine Jameson was the other one.
He played 47 and a half minutes too. Did they go OT?
No.
What the hell? They were working him.
That's what I'm saying. For one night, he had to be everywhere.
He shot.
That's why he ran as quick
from
as
the
a
field.
turtle.
I gotta mention that if we gonna be talking about my guy.
Well, what were you saying, Johnny?
I said that's why Dirk was running as fast as a turtle in his final few years, probably because they just ran him to the ground earlier on. He had nothing left in those legs.
NFL running back syndrome.
Yeah.
It's like when they retire at age, what do you call it? Like usually most of them retire before 30 because they just get smashed the whole career.
Yeah. Unless you're Frank Gore and you play forever.
Yeah. He's well, by the time we put this out, he would have been in a boxing match with Darren Williams, if you can believe that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no.
He's on the Jake Paul card. Fun facts for everyone. Frank Gore versus Darren Williams. Hilarious.
Nice. Sure.
So, Johnny, you're up.
All right, so I'll speak on behalf of my game. So, Knicks, Bulls. Awesome rivalry in the 90s. So you already know that the physicality's there. And I've watched the game. I mean, it was a great Christmas Day game, but it was one of those things that remember what this was coming off of, you know? This was coming after that big series in 1994 with that controversial foul call. Scottie Pippen pushing Patrick Ewing after dunking on him, walking over him, and like Patrick punches him in the junk. And then he walks over to like Spike Lee and points at him. It was like, that was the series that this one's coming off of. Now we got a Christmas Day game. So you know it's intense, you know it's going to be physical, and it was a great game. And Scottie was balling. If this was a Scottie they had all the time, they wouldn't have needed MJ. I mean, all right, I'm going to take a page out of Dario's book, but he did it all. 36 points, 16 rebounds. I don't know whether or not you guys count rebounds. Like I know there's defensive rebounds. It's kind of a controversial thing whether or not you count like rebounding and positioning as the shot goes up as a part of defense. Yeah. But that only helps Scottie if you do. But he also doesn't need it. He had a bunch of steals, 5 steals. He had a couple blocks to go with it. And you mentioned the clutch aspect of it. And the way that game ended, it came down to the final shot. And Scottie, that's where he got, I think he had only counted one of his blocks because the second block probably came after the buzzer. But he was locking down dudes on the perimeter, and he blocks the first shot, and then he blocks the second shot as time expires. And it's like, that's Scottie Pippen. Like that's him in a nutshell. And it was like such a great image. And it's like, so knowing him, his reputation, the reputation of that rivalry in the series, and just how great he was in the last moments, I'm like, for me, it's Scottie, like that game right there.
He is a guy that I've shit on repeatedly on this program throughout the episodes. But I'll say this. What you were saying about Curry earlier, it is the exact opposite with Scottie Pippen. He might be the greatest Christmas performer ever. He's undefeated on Christmas. He's absurd. He is absurd on Christmas Day. And his stat sheet is like crazy. We're going to get into it later, I'm sure. But
he definitely shows up like crazy.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Every game on Christmas, he has...
I'm surprised he shot 10 threes that game.
He shot what?
He shot 10 threes.
Well, he was one of those guys...
2020 game.
Like, this was the...
more than the rest of the team combined.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he was the guy that was doing that for the Bulls before, like they had B.J. Armstrong, they had their three-point specialist, but in terms of like... Because you even saw Jordan in the 92 finals take a lot of threes. And like even in the 93 playoffs, he took a ton of threes in comparison to the league. So those two guys were kind of ahead of it in terms of stars trying to extend their range a little bit. So it's not total, for me, it's not super surprising, but it is a fucking lot for sure.
Yeah.
He's shooting more than 50% of his team's 3-point shots.
Yeah, I was surprised I was the only one to pick Pippen, to be honest. I mean, it's Scottie. It's an incredible game, but, some people just want, Dirk as their lockdown defender. So,
hey, the name of the game was everybody brings something different. So I brought something fucking different.
Okay. Did you do that after you, would you have picked someone else and then you saw, I was going to take DeAndre, so I'll take Dirk Nowitzki,
No, he did.
Now's the part where we get into that. I was going to pick Dario's pick. I was going to pick Moses Malone.
Okay.
I think Moses Malone's game is awesome. And it's a revenge game. And he does a lot on the defensive end. He's got 21 rebounds. I'm sure half of them are on the offensive glass. Mm-hmm. Greatest offensive rebounder of all time. But yeah, that's what I thought. I'm exactly correct. He split. He got 21 rebounds, 10 were offensive.
So, not to the same extent as Dirk, but Moses as well. He wasn't an all-time great defender. Let me put it that way. He was a decent defender. I think he made a couple all-defense teams and such. Yeah. Didn't have the quickest mobility. Wasn't the best shot blocker. All that sort of thing. But he could do it occasionally. And so not quite to the level of surprise that Dirk is, but for him to have a big defensive game like that, that's different for him.
Yeah.
So Johnny, are you trying to tell us that you picked Scottie off of reputation mainly? Because it sounds like it kind of sounds like you're talking about these guys. We're just talking about Christmas, man.
No, he just said it. Scottie's arguably I wouldn't even go that far, so I'm not going to quote him on that. He's one of the all-time great Christmas players. He's undefeated on Christmas. Scottie's just Scottie all the time. Have you ever seen Scottie and go, man, he's really slacking on defense. He's not even trying.
No, not me.
I've definitely said Scottie's not trying on several occasions. But
you might get Russell on that one because me and Russell argue about Scottie's greatness on defense all the time.
I think Scottie Pippen is one of the greatest defensive players to ever play, for sure. But he has his moments where he doesn't try very much, for sure. And
are we watching the same games? We got to sit down and watch a classic Bulls game together.
Yeah, we should. Let's watch the game where he refused to get off the bench.
Okay, you can't play defense when you're on the bench. I'm not going to say he was looking like a Hall of Famer on the bench.
And then the next game when it was a buzzer beater and he changed the entire team's motivation and they threw the worst inbound pass ever to Scottie, who was guarded by 4 guys because he about the game before.
This is so classic. You can't back up your actual argument, so you change it to something else. And
that's the argument.
I'm not talking about whether or not Scottie was a jerk for sitting on the bench and not helping the team out, how it affected the team.
That's not trying. That's not trying. By definition, that is not trying.
Okay, so he had one play that's very famous that we all know about where he was on the bench, so he wasn't trying on offense or defense or any sense of the word.
Well, just because I can and it's fun. The only reason we really, at most, like a majority of the world knows about it now is because it was just on a stupid doc that didn't need to have that specific moment in it. But
I mean, it was big then too. Yeah. That to maybe a lot of newer fans, it was a reminder, or to newer fans, they learned about it. But it was big then too.
Made all the books,
but it just caused Scottie to be a drunk, belligerent man, and now created a book about it and go crazy. So that's why it's yeah.
See, I didn't say that. Wasn't me.
No, I'm just saying that's what's causing it, and then that's where.
That's definitely fair. Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
What's going on with Scottie lately, though, is it's like the Paul Pierce thing. I think we talked about this the last podcast, where Paul Pierce thinks he's the greatest player of all time, which automatically makes people think less of him. And I feel like that thing's kind of happening with Scottie now. Like, the more he opens his mouth, the less credit people want to give him for everything he did with the Bulls. It's like, now
I agree. I totally agree.
I completely disagree.
You disagree? I feel like that makes me feel further like I don't like him. Is everything he's done in the last few years.
But the whole thing is, like, if you, at least me as a basketball fan, anyone who's spoken about Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, like casual fans at least, everyone always on Pippen. Like, literally my whole life, I thought Pippen was trash until I actually watched Bulls games, and I was like, this guy is elite, and no one believed that. And I appreciate, at the time, watching the Last Dance, I appreciated how he talked about Pippen, because I felt like a lot of people didn't know that. Like, I remember, like, people on Twitter just, like, talking about, oh, wow, I didn't know Scottie Pippen was this good.
Yeah.
Well, because it's also, like, not like actual politics, but like basketball politics, where it's like, if you back Pippen, like, there are LeBron fans that back Pippen so hardcore because really it diminishes Jordan.
Yeah, that's all.
And it's like, so even stuff like that, it's like, he's so polarizing, like where you rank Scottie all time and how you view him as a player and that sort of thing. But to be fair, Dario, I haven't had as many of those conversations. I had one dude who's on my channel a lot. He's in my Discord server and everything. He said that I'm totally out of touch with with basically the casual basketball fan. And I think it's really true. Like, I don't bother talking to him. My channel doesn't carry itself that way. And so when you're telling me, like, all the casuals think Scottie sucks, I'm like, well, I don't talk to them, so I wouldn't know. Yeah. Like, I live in an echo chamber of people who are obsessed with the game.
But that's the whole thing. But the whole thing is, because the NBA has gotten so big, you have a majority of those people are casual fans. So that's why it's like, that's why you kind of...
Yeah, the more people that have opinions that are silly. Because the fame is getting more, like, I mean, good for them. They're becoming more popular, and they deserve it, because the game is awesome right now. But that's definitely what comes with it, is there's more human beings.
Well, because of social media, it's actually, there's been some stats showing that, like, people are watching the games less, but they're talking about the games more.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah, and so it's like they'll watch YouTube videos and stuff, which I hate. I honestly hate that, because everybody thinks now that, like, all these great players, it's like they're shooting logo shots and they just don't miss from the logo. I'm like, no, you're not actually watching the full games like I do. I see those boneheads sometimes going, oh, from 35, and they brick it. I'm like, well, that's not making the highlight reel, And so I don't know. There's value to watching the whole game and analyzing everything that's going on.
I agree. And that, I was going to say, when you were saying about YouTube and whatever, I agree that there's a certain aspect of that. But for me personally, I found so many full games from, like, back in the day on YouTube. There's so many full games to watch. It's just about people's attention spans are very short sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
That's okay. So who you got? Well, I'm taking Moses.
So I was gonna ask, do we all want to vote on? Because I just don't know how we don't vote on our guys usually, for the most part.
We could tie.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I think what we should do is, like, between us, we should just vote on someone other than our own guy. You can't vote on your own guy, and we'll determine it that way.
That's a good call. I'm with that.
What you get upset about, Dario? If you're so confident about your pick, I could vote for your guy.
Yeah,
I can't vote for mine. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Like, nobody's going to vote for mine. Well, maybe you picked poorly. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, for example, Dirk Nowitzki's about to get
Screw you, Johnny.
Well, it's fun. What makes that fun, though, what makes this fun is you kind of have to put a good argument together. It incentivizes us making the case for our guy because the other people in this podcast are going to be voting on it. So,
that's the plan. We're going to vote, but you can't vote for your own guy. So I'm voting for Moses because he was going to be my guy. Right. I want him to be my guy. I think Moses' game is crazy.
Yeah. So I'm voting for Scottie because I like the Knicks thing. I like that the way he broke that down. So
yeah, I'm taking Moses too.
There, see, you know what I mean? Told you. All right, Lindsay, deciding pick.
I was gonna go for Scottie, so I guess we're tied.
I knew she was. That's what I was saying. It's half.
So back to square one.
All right, yeah, rock paper scissors. Who's ready?
Oh, that's the point. This is the point where we look at the audience and go, let us know between the two players who you think
Scottie or Moses
could be number one between Scottie and Moses. They're going to be on your screen right now in a cute little awards thing. You pick. All right? Yeah. You guys make the decision, and we'll see when we get back to it. But
really, DeAndre Jordan was the actual Grinch.
All right. So the next category is Santa Award, which I originally titled the best out of nowhere game, RKO style. This is the best game by a guy who was not an all-star. So, like, if he wasn't an all-star that year, that also counts. But as Johnny was just saying, make your case for why this is the Secret Santa Award for the best performance from a guy who was not an all-star. And it kind of came out of nowhere. Who's going first?
I just wanted to say before anything, Johnny does not know what RKO style means.
That doesn't matter.
I was wondering.
The meme with the RKO?
You don't know who Randy Orton?
Out and I? No, he shouldn't know who.
Let me guess, is wrestling again?
Yeah, already established.
That's why I thought it was funny.
I'm not into that glorified drama kid stuff.
No. And Randy Orton is definitely a glorified drama kid. Like
I'm okay with that. Yeah, that's fine. All right. I'll go first. So, I picked Spud Webb in 1989 because this is a guy who, during this season, this man started half the games during that year, and he only averaged 9 points a game, right? 9 points, 6 assists, basically more of a six-man. And then on Christmas Day, he has an out-of-body experience. He scores the most points that he does all season, right? 26 points, 12 assists, 12 of 14 from the field. Mind you, he is one of the smallest players of all time. So he is easily working harder than, he's working his ass off to get these buckets. And he's having an out-of-body experience for sure. Because 26 and 12 is a great game. And they won by 11. And they needed every minute he played to beat the Cavs, who weren't they good at the time? What was their record? Oh, they were
not this particular season, but I feel like that's an outlier. Yeah, back in the days with Mark Price and stuff, a lot of times they were good. This was kind of an outlier. But
and Brad Daugherty, but Brad Daugherty's not on this. But those were the guys that they built that around. But yeah, Dominique had 22. Moses again, journeyman, 24 and 13. But Spud Webb with 26 and 12 is my pick for the best Secret Santa game, for sure. Who's next?
I'll go.
All right.
So I have Monta Ellis from 2010 versus the Blazers. He had 39 points, 2 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, and a block on 50, 60, 91, which is awesome. And I'm going to go with him because I don't think, was he ever an all-star?
No, he's never made the all-star team.
Yeah, and this was a baller game for a never all-star.
So the only thing about Monta Ellis at that time is Monta Ellis was known for like lighting people up at that time. And I feel like he was like a top 5 shooting guard in the league at that time. So that's my only argument.
But he was never an all-star, so how can you make that argument?
I don't know if he was top 5, but Monta Ellis could get buckets.
Yeah,
People knew he could ball and that sort of thing. And I honestly almost went with this one. I changed my pick. This was my initial pick because it was such a great game. He's such a talented player, and I think he should become a little bit like underrated and lesser known as time has gone on, like a lot of those old Warriors have, because there's so many like, bandwagon fans and so many people who don't know the Warriors history who have been a fan in more recent years.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I mean, it's not the most shocking thing to see like Monte Ellis just go off. Like he's definitely capable of it. So that's why I ultimately didn't go with him, but I'm not hating. I mean, it's a great game.
For sure. Microwave 100%. And it was interesting with the early years of Curry and Monte Ellis. Because like imagine because Curry was injured a lot during that time. You know what I mean? So it would have been interesting to see if Curry could have gotten to the spot, not saying that he's at now, but like the spot he was at when he dropped buckets on the Knicks, for example. Like if he had gotten to that spot earlier, I wonder if him and Monte Ellis could have done damage in the West because they were electric.
A lot of issues.
Look at Curry on Christmas. Oh my God.
This is going to be a recurring theme for sure.
A lot of issues with Monte Ellis and Curry was that it was Monte's team at the time Curry got drafted, and there was like some tension there where he didn't want to kind of let go of some of the reins. So I'll go next.
Yeah.
My guy Bob Boozer. No one knows his name, right? You guys have never heard.
I mean, me and Johnny definitely do, because we give it about the old guys.
Is he related to Carlos Boozer?
No, absolutely not.
Go ahead, keep making your case, Dario.
Yeah. So in 1966, he drops his second high. His career high is 42 points. And this is his second career high, whatever. I don't know. This is not a normal occurrence for this guy. 40 and 13. He becomes an all-star the very next year. So up to this point, he had already played 6 years in the league, and hadn't done anything like this. And he just wilds out on Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jerry Sloan, Hall of Fame Jazz head coach, also known for being like a very rugged guard for this era. It's interesting to see him on there.
No, it's a good pick. Look at that efficiency too. 10 of 10 from the line, 15 of 23 from the field. That's a good pick. I like Bob Boozer.
Appreciate that.
For sure. I definitely don't hate it. I'm just surprised to see you pick somebody from this era. For sure. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, gonna be. Because the last time we were all together, I remember getting a lot of crap for my 60s hate and 70s and all this other stuff, right? And y'all gonna see that I showed a lot of love to the older people, and it wasn't on purpose either. I was just like, I believed it.
You got a lot of hate from me, but I mean, that's also a meme.
I wasn't trying to.
Like, people think I just love the old players too much. So, I mean, as much as you get hate, like, it's a meme against me too. So it's like,
if you go back,
I wasn't trying to pick at you, Johnny. I was just saying.
No, you're good.
I've given him plenty of times on this show though about the same kind of deal.
Oh yeah.
But what do you call it?
You did just give me a legitimate reason not to vote for you, though. It's like, well, if I'm using Dario's logic against him, well, it happened way back in the day when everybody was trash.
All right, look. We went through a lot of Christmas games, and it was hard to find a good amount of these players who just out of nowhere went off. So my guy, Bobby. That's his new name, Bobby Boucher. He did what he had to do.
Yep. Bobby Boucher. Nice. All right. Well, my guy, Greg Ballard, I'm pretty sure nobody's ever heard of, which is the point. I don't really know much about this guy either, which just strengthens my case, to be honest, because this dude is a surprise. He ain't nobody. I don't give a crap about that championship. He was no part of it. On that championship team, he was the Adam Morrison, okay? So this guy, all of a sudden, he could score at times. And I know there's probably some really old dudes who are going to get mad at me. Listen, nobody knows who this guy is nowadays. But on Christmas Day, he became LeBron James. And he did it all. 37 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. Not quite as efficient as the rest of you guys, but I mean, he did everything. And it's like, if you saw this one game, just this one game was spotlighted, and that's like all you got to see into his game. Played all 48 minutes, so he's got the endurance, he's got the stamina. You would think, dude, this guy, he's legit. He's got to be one of the best guys in the league. This guy's ahead of his time. He does it all. No. He had good Christmas vibes. Total surprise, total Secret Santa. And so that's why I left Monte Ellis to come over to Greg Ballard, because I'm like, dude, nobody was going back in the day like, oh, Greg Ballard's getting buckets. It's like, and dishing dimes. And because like that stat line, that's a total LeBron stat line.
Yeah.
What was it again? It was 37 and
37, 9, and 7.
Yeah.
With a block.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's my choice. I can't
all 48 minutes. That's crazy.
I can't tell you a ton about this guy, but that's why I picked him. Exactly. I could tell you a lot more about Monte Ellis and his game and how he played and that sort of thing. And it's like, or other guys like that. So I can't tell you a ton about Bob Boozer either. So just to be fair.
Okay, I was gonna say, do y'all really know who Bob Boozer is? Because I
know he won a championship.
I think Russell's lying. I think he's trying to look like the
look it up.
Old school.
Look it up.
No, I know he won a championship.
You looked him up after I wrote his name. There's no way you just knew his.
No, I played with him in 2K. That's why I knew who he was.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes sense.
I believe that for sure.
That's fine.
That's the only reason I would know. I feel like though,
it was the year. It was that year. It wasn't that year. 86.
No, it wasn't back then. It was like at the end of his career, and he wasn't relevant to it at all. Like what Johnny was saying about Greg Ballard. But
2K needs like pink diamond Christmas cards. Where it's like it could be the dude who's just a total scrub, but you got his Christmas Day card, so he's like basically the GOAT on this day.
They've done that with other fucking games. They should do that. That would be sick. They probably already have. I don't even know. I haven't played that mode in so long. The card game mode used to be my favorite, but then I realized it was like essentially gambling, and I was like, I'm out, dude. I can't be doing this with my life.
I realized it's a scam and it's too much of a commitment. You know? Yeah.
And then I thought to myself, wait, kids can do this? This is wild. Mm-hmm. This is fucking wild. Like
that beard's not going to make it, Russell.
No, it's going to make it.
It's getting sadder and sadder as
it's going to make it. I am going to make it at least through this whole fucking show, and then as soon as this beard is done, I'm lighting it on fire. That's it.
What?
It's itchy. Even though I have a beard, it's itchy. And thank God I have my own mustache. Otherwise, this would really be. This would be awful. At least I can cover it.
Why don't you just tape it?
You want me to waste more time?
I don't.
Okay.
We're not lighting it on fire. That's not happening.
Yeah, you're not lighting it on fire. You're not lighting it on fire. I
use it for next year.
I can't fry.
Okay, Russell, your pick, right?
I said Spud Webb.
Oh, wait. So we vote now.
Good.
Yeah. So I've looked at all of your guys' scoring performances, and in each one of the seasons, which is why I looked through it the way I looked through it, you guys all had more points per game overall that season than my guy Spud Webb, even though you know who he is because of dunk contests. Doesn't matter. Spud Webb was fire that game. 26 and 12 is amazing. It's not 40, but it's amazing. And, he probably is worth more points when you combine the assists and the points. It's probably worth more than 40.
Well, you can't vote for him, so shut up and make your vote. Who you voting for?
I'm just saying.
Are you scared? Why you have to throw out that random?
He's got to make round 2 of arguments. He didn't like his first one enough.
Throw this in.
Facts. Fuck that. I love Spud Webb. That little guy is my favorite. He's my little elf. He's awesome.
So I can't pick mine, which I would pick. Now, just so the audience knows, I would pick mine if I could.
No, that's how you pick.
My only thing. All right, so this is my thing, and Russell did change my mind a little bit with that Spud Webb lower than average. My whole thing is, look, this is my thought process. Monte Ellis, I really truly do think he was like a walk-in bucket, so that's why it's hard for me to say his performance was like Secret Santa. Spud Webb, I was like, Spud Webb was well known. Like to me, that's not a Secret Santa. But then looking at all right, he had like the lowest average out of everybody here, so he was less likely to do that. Plus, he shot 12 of 14. I like that, but I also don't know who the hell Greg Ballard is. So I feel like when we're talking about Secret Santa, like he's completely a secret to me. So like I have to go with the Greg Ballard guy because I knew Spud Webb and I knew Monte, and that's why. So I have to go the Greg guy.
I knew this was going to happen because based on the logic of the why we picked the guys we did, is going to also be the reason why we vote for the guys we vote for. It's like, I knew the instant, like, he explained his reasoning for picking his guy. It's like, oh, I did the same thing. So I'm going to pick Bob Booster. He's going to pick Ballard. Yeah, no, it's like, you have the right thinking, okay? That's totally a secret. Now, I get what you said about Spud Webb, but, I mean, Spud Webb was so athletically gifted.
For sure.
You could say he's one of the smallest guys of all time, but there's a reason he was in the league while being one of the smallest guys of all time. It's because he was a freak athlete and a little package. So to picture just having like little bursts of greatness, like doesn't totally surprise me. Great game, but not totally surprised me.
It's just he's got that little guy. But whatever, I'm gonna pick. I was gonna pick, much like the Moses thing from the last award. I was going to pick Greg Ballard for all the reasons you guys have been talking about. I was going to pick, I saw him first of all, this award easily was the hardest research to get. Like, for sure. When digging, this was by far the toughest thing. And it was hard to come up with the right game at the right time.
I think I legitimately spent a couple hours clicking through every season of Christmas and like scrolling and scrolling.
Facts. That's what I did too. That's hilarious.
Facts.
And year by year.
And you're not going to find highlights. There isn't like a, Greg Ballard mixtape on, like on YouTube. It's like, I wish I could provide footage of this dude going off, but it's like literally all I got is like,
I got you. I can reenact it. He was dribbling the ball like this. And picture me in gray. Future Russell, can you make me gray when I'm doing this?
No. He was running down the floor, LeBron James speed. It was jumping from the free throw line, doing the jump man. Trust me, bro. Pick my guy.
But no, I like Greg Ballard. Daryl has Greg Ballard. Lindsay, who you picking?
Why do you guys have to make me pick last?
Do it, Lindsay. Come on. 40 piece? He only had 40 twice in his life. One of them was on Christmas. 6 years in the league.
You're going to make me look up, like, pathetic Greg Ballard stats now. Like, on this night, he had 11 turnovers.
He got 12 from the field this night.
Didn't my guy shoot 10 of 10 from the field?
So next time, I am not picking last because I don't want to be the person making these ties anymore because I was going to go with Boozer.
Let's go! Let's go!
Fucking A. Yeah, you're not going last ever again.
I'm sorry.
I'll pick last. Makes me judge, jury, and executioner. I like the
power. Perfect.
We rotate. Let's rotate because I was hoping.
All right. So we have another tie. So we have Bob Boozer and we have Greg Ballard. Let us know in the comment section your list of who you think should win these awards. For sure. All right. Last award for part 1 is the Tree-Mendous, or Tremendous, if you know English, performance. This is the best performance by a marquee player in the league, the most iconic performance on Christmas. Who's going first?
I can do it.
Iconic? No. I gotta correct you. Okay, you said iconic. Well, it's just impressive, right? Like
it's the best marquee performance. I changed marquee.
All right.
Marquee here. Changed the wording a little bit. It sounded nice.
Yeah, you just throwing in random words and definitions. Is
what I'm here for.
That's all right. I'm like, wait, let me change my pick.
I was about to say, I don't know if you've watched over a billion episodes of the show, but I mess up shit like that all the time. That's kind of what I'm here for.
Fair enough.
But Lindsay, go first.
Okay. So I have the Tiny Head Chewing as my pick from 1985 when he was rookie. And they were going against the 85 Celtics on Christmas Day. And it was a comeback win. And this man had like 32, 11, and 3, and 2, and 1, and all that jazz. But yeah, he beat the 85 Celtics on Christmas Day as a rookie. So I'm going to go with that.
They also came back from like 20 points, right?
Yeah, it was a comeback, yeah.
Lindsay, the funniest thing is when you first said the guy's name and you said tiny head whatever, I was like, who is he? And it's just, and then before I could even stop like think that, I was like, oh, Patrick Ewing. That's who you think has the tiniest head in the world.
Patrick, poor Patrick.
It's in relation to his shoulders. Like it just doesn't work.
He has like
30, 32, and what is it? 11 on Christmas.
I got a big head.
32 and 11. Yeah.
This is the '86 Celtics, right? This is the best team.
Yeah.
Oh, what day?
One of the best teams of all time.
What day is it? It's in '85.
Yeah, 85. So the '86 championship.
Yeah,
So that's the greatest
Celtics.
team. Yeah, arguably one of the greatest teams of all time. I like that.
Number 1 ranked defense that season. Yeah.
I was thinking about picking. Honestly, I think I had given this great thought of picking this for the best game because double overtime. You got so many stars. You got Kevin McHale putting up 29 and 14. You got Larry Bird, 23 and 10. Shot horribly inefficient, but they were there. They played 50 minutes and 45 minutes for Parrish. And it's a huge comeback for the Knicks. And it's kind of like, I'm sure to an extent, Patrick Ewing had been playing really well in Georgetown, but this was one of his biggest early NBA games.
Yep.
And I really like this pick a lot.
I'm not shocked you didn't pick this as like because the Knicks. So
that I obviously factored into mine.
You were like, screw that. I'm not. No Nick love over here.
I can't.
Well,
do
I
it.
know who Russell's voting for. All right. Great.
Oh, trust me, you probably not. All right, I got this. I'm showing a little bit more love to the '60s again, and I'm going back to the goat of the '60s. Yeah, I know. My boy Will Chamberlain. All right, so look, everybody talks about the 60 piece that Bernard King put up, right? And they're like, oh, greatest game or whatever. My guy created that. He created that whole thing. Bernard King had to pass somebody, right? And that was my boy. 59 and with 59 and 36 rebounds on 52.3% shooting, right? But along with that, they went to double overtime. So it was like, so imagine this on freaking Christmas. You watching all of this, and then my guy just keeps on putting in buckets. Gets you 59, 36. They still lose by 1 point. So, yeah, I like that. I like that as my greatest performance ever.
Of course, they didn't bother to put anybody else's extra stats, but they happen to have minutes for Wilt. Because they know people are mainly looking back at this fucking team to look at one guy and one guy.
Only reason.
Paul Azrin was I'm pretty sure he's in the Hall of Fame. And there's guys that, like, you know, are in there that are playing out here. But Richie Guerin had 40 and 10. Jesus Christ. 16 and 24 for Johnny Green. These are all names that I barely know, that I know very offhand.
Richie Guerin's a Hall of Famer. He's a baller.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, there was one game where Wilt had like 67. It was actually, fun fact, Wilt's 100-point game was actually his fourth game of 4 straight 60-point games.
Yeah.
The first game, he had 67. Richie Guerin had a 50-point triple-double in that same game against him. So in that game where Wilt had 67, he's arguably not even the best player on the court that night. Yeah, Guerin could play too.
That is crazy. But this is another pick that's like, I'm just happy to see this from you personally.
Thank you. But like, it's crazy. Him saying that fun fact was just proof that they were smoking high school kids. But keep on. Let's go.
Well, for the sake of this segment, Wilt Chamberlain was dominating plumbers. Okay, they were such a small guy.
Let's go. Yeah, join the dark side. Danny, join the dark side.
This was your master plan.
We're in the shade.
This was your plan. You pitted me against Wilt so that I would go back on all the love that I have for this guy. But I want to win. So here we go. Yeah, I mean.
You know what, John? I completely agree with you. You know what? I agree. Let's go.
We're back at the We've left the shade.
Bernard King, if you want to bring him up, his 60 points, it's one of the most efficient scoring performances of all time, let alone on Christmas. I mean, he was
also
from the free throw line, efficient from the field, doing it all basically on jump shots for the most part. I mean, he was so methodical and rhythmic that it's like he was sharp that game. It wasn't like Karl Malone's game where he scored like 60 or 61. They're all a bunch of layups. It's like, no, Bernard King was like making jumpers all night long, and they couldn't stop him. So incredibly efficient. Got some boards, got some assists back before like boards were just all over the place. It's like, if there's one thing I'm going to crap on for Wilt Chamberlain, it's like those 36 rebounds aren't going to be 36 rebounds in today's game. He probably had more like, I don't know, half that probably. Yeah. And so,
there were, to add to your point, there was 126 field goal attempts. So,
a lot.
36
a lot of rebounds to get.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing. Like, and again, you can turn it into a positive or a negative. Wilt played 58 minutes. He had almost as many minutes as he had points. You know, that's a lot of game. Yeah. You know, for Bernard to get 60 and 41 minutes, like if you're actually watching that game, there's a different level of like the guy's hot if he's able to get more points in nearly 20 minutes less. You know, I mean, that guy's really hot and he's scoring quickly. You know, it's like, what would a Bernard have got if you gave him 17 more minutes, you know, sort of thing. So yeah. I don't know. That's why I went with this game, because I did notice the Wilt game, but, you know, I wasn't going to just be a homer, you know. But now you put me in this weird predicament where I'm like, I got to argue against Wilt.
Yeah, you know, I just
no. You went with Bernard King because it's one of the most iconic games of, you know, all time, right?
It's iconic. I mean, I've watched it. I've seen the footage of it. He's impressive. Like, and it's incredibly efficient for a guy who isn't just, you know, getting the majority of his points in the paint or dunking the basketball. Like, he's a mid-range player who is just smoking hot, you know?
Yeah. And especially like getting rebounds and dunking the basketball on like little white kids too. Like that's But let's continue.
All right.
How do you pick him and hate on him at the same time?
You just gave me the leeway, so I have to just keep on piling on.
We haven't made our votes yet, right? You still want votes, right?
My bad. You want votes? Okay, I got to vote. All right, I got to vote. And if you want it, you're gonna stop. You're
gonna stop belittling Wilt's competition if you want my vote.
I picked this game by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Now, I managed to pick the 1 year that Kareem is not an all-star. I managed to find the one out of a billion seasons that he's an all-star. This is the 1 year he's not an all-star. But I couldn't put him as a Secret Santa. I just couldn't. It felt wrong in every way, shape, or form by what we were trying to go for. It would be the exact opposite of the Greg Ballard. And I felt weird having it there. So I'm having it here. Kareem absolutely filled up the stat sheet. Lakers win 111-96. Kareem, 35 points, 17 rebounds, 9 assists, a steal, and 3 blocks. Shot 71%, carried the Lakers, who were struggling at this point, 14-18 at this point of the year. And I just thought this game was like insane. It's one of those he's everywhere type games. Like the flying around for blocks, all over the place for rebounds.
Like, 9 assists. That's the most crazy part for me. It's like that's not a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar type thing.
No. And I was just extremely impressed. It's the third highest game score in the history of Christmas. Bernard King's being number 1. But I got your back. But
keep making my case. Go ahead.
I was just like, I think this game by Kareem, from a statistical standpoint and from a complete dominance on Christmas Day, I was stunned. I was stunned by the near triple double, or almost 5x5. But like, he needed a little bit more on the defensive end. But yeah, that's my pick. Versus Supersonics. R.I.P. Supersonics.
R.I.P. All right, so Russ, you pick first.
I'm picking Bernard King. I think it's one of the greatest performances in all of Christmas. I feel like if it happened on another day, it wouldn't be talked about the same way as it's talked about because it happened on Christmas.
Well, to be fair, Bernard King is barely talked about.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What he had an ACL or what did he have that screwed up his career? What injury was it?
Yeah, it was some kind of a leg injury. I know that much. It's been a while since I made his video.
I think it was ACL.
I think it was knees.
That's what I'm saying.
Terrible knees.
Something like that. But he ended up. This was
Did he like play through an ACL,
and he had an incredible comeback too.
Yeah.
I remember he almost like a Dominique type comeback where people weren't expecting him to be good, and he was good for another year, but he didn't last terribly long. But I mean, he was one of the best scorers and stuff. And nowadays, people are even talking about guys like Alex English, and I'm starting to hear some of these underrated guys of the 80s get brought up more. But I still don't hear Bernard King brought up all that much. Like this dude was legit for a little while.
Won a scoring title. To your point, you said I think of Adrian Dantley, but they're all in that category of smaller guy who posted up, who had a fire post up game.
Yep,
and that's how they got their buckets for the most part.
Bernard was kind of a beast in transition too, because he was strong and he was known for being an intense competitor too. So yeah, if he was paired with like a great point guard, he would have been even better because just like he was a great trailer, and like you didn't want to get in front of Bernard King when he's on his way to the rim. Like he was a big, strong dude.
Yeah. I'm definitely. So I'm going with Bernard.
Yeah. So I really like Lindsay's case on Patrick Ewing. Them going against the '86 Celtics, one of the greatest teams of all time.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And Patrick Ewing, I think I usually don't care about the competition, but he faced the toughest of the toughest competition, and he came out with the dub. So
I mean, that's Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish, two of the greatest big man tandems ever. So I mean, that's pretty legit to do that. And I mean, I don't know if we give him bonus points because he was he a rookie that year?
It was his rookie season, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's you could give him bonus points for that too. That's pretty impressive. So
yeah,
and
it's worth one of the best teams ever when you add that in too. Like you were talking about just the front court, but that particular Celtics team, one of the best ball movement teams, one of the greatest overall teams of all time.
I mean, if you think about Jordan's 63 against Boston, in the playoffs, everybody totally gives him bonus points because it was against Boston.
Yeah.
They do that all the time. So same thing with Patrick.
Yeah. He lost. Patrick won.
Yeah.
He won. He did. Keep making my argument,
Jordan,
people.
Jordan, why you ain't win?
Yeah.
Why?
It's because his head's too big.
And it's baldy too. Well, he had hair at that time, so I'll go.
He had hair the whole time for the most part. But what do you call it?
I'm going with Patrick. I'm going with Patrick.
You're going Patrick?
I'm going with Patrick. She won me. She won me over. The argument's too good. I'll go with Patrick. Yeah.
Why you didn't want to?
I was gonna go Wilt, but I'm like, that's such a good argument. I'll go with that.
Yes. Yeah, I don't even mind.
We converting Johnny. We slowly bringing them in.
Yeah, Wilt's overrated. I mean, I've come to that conclusion tonight.
Exactly.
Yeah, Wilt's overrated.
Sure, hours of content on Wilt. There's just a waste of time. You guys are
I'm going to go delete all those videos now.
Yeah.
I don't want to push that propaganda anymore.
No longer. Fucking hilarious. I was even thinking about, once you were talking about Patrick Ewing, because Lindsay went first. That completely slipped my mind that I should have just said Patrick Ewing, honestly. I thought of Bernard King because of the iconic nature of the game. But the comeback is crazy. The whole context is crazy. And I was going to pick one of this game for best game. I was really strongly thinking about it, like I said. So
I was shocked you picked Bernard because I was it sounded like you already had Patrick Ewing in your mind.
Look, I had my choice between two Knicks, and so it was just a choice between two bowls of. The only difference was the smell. You know what I mean? So,
oh my gosh! So did all three of you pick Ewing?
Yeah. So you didn't get your wish. You still get to pick last, but at least everybody picked your guy.
Yeah, at least I won't have to do a tie. I can't vote for him, so I'll go with Bernard King.
I got one.
There you go. There you go.
Why we ain't pick Wilt?
Because you were like, hey, I picked this Wilt game, but he does play against trash competition. Learn not to undercut yourself, bro.
It's crazy. I showed mad love to the old heads, but
it's like trying to.
I mean, you did, but you didn't.
It was what's called underhanded.
Yeah,
I got it. I wasn't trying to at first, but all right.
What were you gonna say, Lynn?
It's like trying to sell a car and then telling people that it's actually a lemon. Like you're not going to sell a fucking car.
Okay, that's fine. Well, this is the the end of part 1. And you can find part 2 in the description.
If you want to see,
Pin comment too.
If you want to see who's gonna win the best game of the year, if you're gonna see what was the game we want a redo of, if you want to see the All NBA teams, if you want to see whether this fucking beard is gonna last on my face, you're gonna want to watch part those for sure, and that'll be on our channel. But for now, adios. See you in a little bit. Hey guys, if you like what you heard, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. Just type in Apex Greatness on YouTube to see everything we put out this year. From legacy breakdowns to current NBA and NFL content. We have over 150 videos to binge if you're that type of person, or just to listen to in your spare time. We have about 2 to 5 hours of new content every week. Check us out. Later.